Yeah, but it's one of the reasons I brought Mick into the club. It's one of the reasons Mick's the captain. But there's leadership comes with a wee bit of experience also. So there's a good number of players in the changing room. We all stick together. Like, I know I'm pretty vocal and kind of say this all the time, but we take one game at a time and we try not to let the last game affect the next game. And I think that's the only way to manage it, Livingston. There's no denying we're in a wee bit of a rut just now, and it's frustrating, but that's all it is, frustrating and a wee bit of a rut. If you go over the previous seasons, you'll find that there's probably bigger ruts than what we're going through at this point in time that we've managed to come out of. Going back to a couple of seasons ago, I think frustrating form at the start of the season. I think it was something along the lines of, don't quote me on this, but it's something like 16 games, 14 points, and we found ourselves in a bad rut. We missed out on top 6 on match day 33 with the last kick of a ball. I think it was a corner for Motherwell that hit Ricky Lamy in a second contact and it went in. But for me, teams at this level, like my level, our level, I think that's the biggest thing. It's the most difficult thing to find is consistency. And you will find it at some stage during the season, but when you find that consistency is a wee bit difficult, because there are a lot of variables that can affect an outcome of a game. If I just quickly go over the last probably 4 games, I think Kilmarnock, we didn't deserve anything from that game. I thought Kilmarnock were more aggressive in both boxes. Then you come to Dundee at home, 11v11. It's not a 2-0 game. It's probably a 0-0 game potentially. We go down to 10 men and we lose 2-0 for 2 set plays. Tynecastle away didn't deserve anything from the game, but a wee bit unlucky not to take a draw from the game. But definitely by no stretch of the imagination did we deserve to win that game of football. And then on Saturday I thought we were really, really unfortunate not to take anything from the game. Not to win the game, but then not to take anything from the game. But that's football. That's football, and there's a lot of non-controllables within these games. So I'm very much coaching, get on with the next game, look forward to the next game under no illusions how hard the next 2 games going to be. Is it St Mirren have not looked at the league, still sitting in 3rd, so you're playing 2nd and 3rd in the league, so that shows you the task ahead. So I'm under no illusions how hard that's going to be. Yeah, I think you're at home, you've got the opportunity to go and try and pick 3 points up. You're playing one of the biggest clubs in the league, so when either of the Old Firm are coming along to the Tony Mac, I think there's always a buzz about the game. Then you throw in Sky, there's an extra buzz about the game, so it just kind of lifts the atmosphere throughout the training week. You probably get the players are at it a wee bit more. There's not as many players in the physios room in the lead up to the game, so there's certain aspects, but it brings a different kind of and match day atmosphere in the lead up to the game as well within the training sessions. I kind of reiterate again, I don't really see that. It's not really such a launch pad. By focusing on it being a launch pad, that would then kind of say to me that I'm focusing on the previous games that we've lost. I don't really manage like that. I've never managed like that. It's just the next opponent is the opportunity for us to go and pick 3 points up, and that's really how I see it. I get what you're saying. It's probably an opportunity to build momentum, build a wee bit of momentum if you can come out in the right end of the result, build a wee bit of momentum. With momentum, confidence comes in. It's human nature, it helps everybody when you're in that situation. At the start of the season, the end of last season, I was very vocal on the finances available at the club. I explained how hard it was going to be this season, but I think we've got more than enough within the staff and the players at the club to remain in the season, to remain in the Premier League. I then watch European football and I think there is a gulf. I do think there is a gulf. I'll be honest, I think Celtic's been really fantastic the last couple of years to watch in Europe. They've come out in the wrong end of results, but I've enjoyed watching some of the games. There's no doubt there's a gulf in terms of if we just use Atletico Madrid and you use Celtic's budgets. I think there's probably a multiplication of 7-8 times Celtic's budget to Atletico's budget. And then you flip that, because I find the interviews quite interesting sometimes. It's just the top end of the park. We've not got the resources, we've not got the funds available. We shouldn't really read too much into the performance with the golf and budgets, but when it comes to maybe a Livingston and not just a Celtic, a Livingston and anyone, I would argue that there's a multiplication of about 25 to 30 times our budget. So that puts it into perspective for me. I think even Rangers to a certain degree, like when you look around, even at Europa League level, there's probably a host of clubs that have got far bigger financial budgets, but when you look at Celtic in the Champions League, I think it's fair to say that probably Celtic, I've not looked through all the group tables, but Celtic's probably one of the clubs with in and around the lowest budget in the Champions League, and I've not looked at it all, but just off my top of my head thinking about that. And whether you like it or not, you can bridge that gap sometimes in terms of your coaching, development, progression, but whether you like it or not, football can be controlled by finances. You only need to look at, and listen, it doesn't always go right, but you only need to look at the growth of Chelsea when Abramovich went in, the growth of Newcastle at this point in time, the growth of Man City back then, and then you look at the growth of Celtic and Rangers in terms of the budgets in our leagues. It's probably nailed on most seasons that Celtic and Rangers are going to be first and second, and so finances play a huge part in football. But you can bridge that gap in any given day, but over the course of a season, that's the difficult part. I think they're unbeaten, aren't they? So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. So I think he's went in, he's got a good start. That then breeds a wee bit of momentum, which then breeds a wee bit of self-confidence, the self-esteem of the players. So ultimately you're probably getting better performances from the players with the momentum that they've gathered. So I think he's done a very, very good job, and in a good place as a club. I was going to train, I think I was one of these ones I could probably take a wee bit of a gamble on him, but in my head I think it's probably a game too early. But if I can get a couple of good weeks training into him, i.e. after this game with the international break, it'll be much the more to Ayo's benefit and the squad's benefit, and obviously it'll allow the foot to heal. No, I don't think, I probably wouldn't tell you anyway, but no. No, but I don't think there's any injuries to report. Big Michael Nottingham came off the park, obviously. I think he's in a semi-good place just now, so he'll probably train today, maybe take part in Saturday session, then he could be available for the squad on Sunday also.